No Foolish Finance Fridays. I'm your guest, Mr. Rourke, and welcome to Tam's Fantasy App. Pull my desk down some, up a little high for me. Hope everybody's doing okay out there. I see that rest in peace, Jim Brown. I see that out there. Let's see. I don't know why my screen's not being shared back here. Don't add it to the studio just yet, D. But need to make sure my screen was shared. There we go. All right. I see the rest in peace, Jim Brown. Um, I don't know how old was Jim Brown. He he was running all his life. All his life he had to fight. How old was Jim Brown? Let's see. See, 87. He lived a long life. And he acted. He he lived a long life. 87. Hope your week has been wonderful. Your week has been wonderful. All right, Foolish Finance Fridays. You know how we do. You know, some of y'all out here making financial decisions. I don't know if we want to say they're good ones. So I don't know what we want to say if they're good ones or not. Let me find this one that I want. Wanted to talk about. There's a chick. Oh yeah, here we go. Right here. All right, I got her queued up. I watched her. I watched the video the other night. I don't know if we're gonna have. We may have time this to go through that video, but let me get her name and then I'll pull it up. Uh, mm, we may have time to go through that. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna see. Last night could have been Chat GPT. I don't know. Why could it be Chat GPT? Why would you say such things? Why would you say such things? Could not have been Chat GPT. No way. Absolutely not. Absolutely, positively not. Oh yeah, this the one I watch right here. All right, so I need to probably put that in the other one. We try new things. We try to see, you know, do we need to be on screen, off screen? What we're thinking, how people feeling. I don't know. Was that too awkward for you to be off screen?
Hi.
Was that? I mean, let me know. In case you all don't know what we're talking about, for the 300K, 500K earner, I did an hour special last night on um, topics covered were um, especially around research and development, where the money is flowing, and also got into um, America's shortage in terms of work shortage and where money is being pumped into. And if you're not the 300K, 500K earner, you didn't get that. But those that did, please let me know your feedback on that. I could go a little deeper into that because that also ties into though that funding is tying into 5-10 year moves. So really it ties into economic development in those tech hubs that are being created. What does that look like? So um you know, I just wanna point out what that was about. All right. All right. So Foolish Finance Fridays. How I want to start? No, I'll minimize this one. And let's get into this. All right, D, let's bring the screen on up. Because this conversation goes on about everything. This goes on about everything I see on the internet. But let's really break this down. How many people make over 100K a year? We're gonna roll into some other stuff. So let's get into it. This came out January the 18th of 2023. So here we go. So income stats, they're going by the average PTO days, what percentage of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, millionaire stats, they got all this, right? But we're gonna look at how many people make over 100K. The median income in the US is 44,225, but that doesn't stop many Americans from pursuing and making over 100K a year. Um, and it's a common goal and is often considered one of the first stepping stones toward financial success. But just how many Americans do reach that goal? What's going on, Rachel? How you doing? Rachel Thornton, Reach L, how are you? All right. To find out how many people make over 100K per year, we gather essential facts and data according to our extensive research. 18% of America makes over 100K a year. 34.4% of the US households make 100K a year. 37% of white households make 100K compared to 22% of black households. 9% more men make 100K a year than women in the US. And between 2017 and 2022, or 2022, the US households making over 100K a year increased by 2.97%. Right? So let's break it down. They said here they got it broken down by gender, race, and age and over time. Right? So let me drop this down. So you can see it's a steady increase in America for people to make over 100K. Right? Steady increase. All right. It says 15.5% of America earns between 100K to 149 a year. Although this does not make up the largest percentage of Americans who do make over 100K, which is only 8.3% between 150 and 199, and 10% um, earn over 200K. So people earning over 200K, it's more than people earning between 150 to 199, right? So it's easy, sounds, for you to be in the range for 200K. All right, so they got it broken down. 65% less than 100K, 15%, 15.5% between 100K to 149, and over 200K in the top 10%. And then you start getting into the threes, the fours, the fives, those numbers start to go smaller, but it's not uncommon, right? So 45% of Americans earning over 100K live paycheck to paycheck. I talked about that earlier this year. We know about that. 82% of Americans making over 100K per year say they need to make at least 200K to consider themselves rich. We saw the article that came out that I did last week where Gen Z and millennials said making 100K makes them still feel broke. We saw that. By contrast, 56% of Americans believe that making 100K will make them rich, highlighting the difference in mindset between poorer and wealthier Americans. Now, how many people, put a one in the chat, believe 100K will make them wealthy? Put a one in the chat if you think 100K would make you wealthy. Now it's going down by gender. 17% of all men earn over 100K per year compared to 8.4% of women. Men are around 2x more likely to earn an income of 100K or more per year in the US, with 22,619 of out of 131 men who were surveyed. So out of 131,000 men that they surveyed, and 11,000 of women, roughly 12,000, and we'll say 23,000 for men. So roughly 12,000 for women that were surveyed. 53.5% more men working full time earn 100K per year compared to women. When it comes to full time work, specifically 28% or 29% of the US men make over 100K compared to 18% of women. San Jose has the highest percentage of women earning 100K per year at 34%. Now that's interesting because the other article that we read stated that maybe it's DC per capita, maybe, but it also stated that DC had a high rate. And we see that here. Other cities with a high percentage: San Francisco, California, Washington D.C., Stanford, Connecticut, and Boston. Right? Stanford, Connecticut, and Boston. The average woman earns 83% of what her male counterparts make. Right? For instance, the average woman earns $80,000 less over the course of the same 40-year career. And now let's go by race. All right. Asian households are disproportionately the highest earners in the US at 17.7% earn 100,000 to 150,000, and 12.2% earn between 150 and 199, and 21.1% earn 200,000 or more. And they got it broken down here so you can visually see what I'm saying. And then they go by white household here. Let's go to the visual of that. White household over 200K, 21.1%, 12, and then 17.7. Let's go back up here and look at the Asian. So Asians and white households are roughly the same stats. Hispanics, 6.8, 5.9, and 14.3. Now let's talk about black households. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's start looking at this. 5.7 over 200K, 4.6 over between 150 to 199, and 100 to 149 at 11%. 68% more white households make over 100K than black households. 70% almost. 37% of the white households make over 100K in the US compared to 22. Additionally, 37% more white households make over 100K when compared to Hispanic households. Right? And then they talk about 18% of men and 8% of black men. Right? And now we get into age. Let's look at age. Let me see if they got a chart here. Yeah. So here we go. When we start talking about the share of Americans who make over 100K at 21%, at 40, 15%, at 50, 16%. But you start to see between 60 to 70, you start getting around your 18% right in here. 18 to 20% right in here. And then this is probably more retirement. This is probably more people who worked and they retired right in here. This is where you're getting that at. And this right here is probably still your working class of people for the most part. This part is still your working class of people from 40 to 55. This is probably your working class, right? It says over time, through the number of households making 100K or more dipped from 34% to 33% in 2020 due to C-19. There still has been a slight increase in the past 5 years. And it says between 1980 to 2022, the share of Americans earning 100K a year or more almost doubled, right? Almost doubled. And they show you the time each year that it almost doubled, right? 96% of Americans earning 100K or more are concerned about inflation. Should be. And then they got an FAQ, and then they talk about what's a good salary in comparison of, is 100K a year considered rich? No. Making 100K in a year in the US is not considered rich. Instead, it's generally considered upper middle class. It could even be considered in lower middle class in some coastal areas. In particular, your California, Oregon, I would even say Seattle. I would even consider those areas. Maybe even some parts of Austin, some parts of Colorado, most definitely some parts of New York, parts of Florida as well too, right? When you start looking at the housing and how that works. So why did I mention this? Because I want you to have the facts, and I want you to understand what happens with its income and over time, right? I always go back to the default. If you can earn 100K for 10 years, or if you can earn 200K for 10 years, what your net worth could be, what your investments could be, and so forth. All right, so let's get into it. Um, 100 and excuse me, 150,000 laid off tech workers has fueled a wave of new startups, and they are actually making more. So you get laid off. Do you go back to work, or do you create something on your own? With so much funding out there, people are like, screw it, I'm going to make my own thing. So this came out May 18th, yesterday. The year did not start off great for many tech workers. After tens of thousands of layoffs in 2022, tech companies continued to shed workers in around after in round after round of layoffs. Microsoft, Meta platforms announced thousands of layoffs at the beginning of the year. A report from replacement services firm Challenger and Gray and Christmas stated that technology industry led other sectors for the number of job cuts in 2022. It found more than 97,000 tech workers received pink slips, a 649% increase from 2021. And then they go into who laid off and so forth and so on. It says tech hiring took off during the pandemic as societal shift toward digital services meant technology firms needed to innovate and meet demand. Some of these firms overhired during this period as their management overestimated growth targets. Growth slowed as the pandemic eased and interest rates rose and inflation cut into personal spending and so forth and so on, and the introduction of AI and reducing of staff. But let's talk about what people have been doing. So other private tech firms are also experiencing steep drops in valuations. They're talking about the valuations of the private equity firms. Even IPOs have gone down as well too. Amid these private company layoffs are reports of current and recent layoff employees selling private shares as they need capital to face a failing valuations. Another driver for private share selling is the low number of initial public offerings, which reached the lowest in 20 years. So your private stocks, your stocks, or even your stocks that you have, like in AWS, if you work for a company or Microsoft, people are selling those and getting their severance packages and so forth, right? So what did it do? People said, well, since you had control and now I got some money and some time, I'm going to create my own control, right? So you're going to start to see, and especially since you're having the surgence of tech hubs and the surgence of other cities and funding going into those cities. We're talking. I did this talk last night. 500 million in for that. I talked about R&D, how human and health services R&D is $27 billion, and included in human health services is housing and worker retraining. So you're going to see a big surge again in courses. You'll see a big surge again in training. You're going to see a big surge in people creating. And especially we're in a digital real estate age, we'll start to see a surge of that. So one of the many impacts that job from one of the impacts of the job cuts from 2022 that continue into 2023 is it adds engineers, coders, business development workers, and other back into the job market, right? So again, these are your creators. I'm gonna go out and sniff out where the money is at. Okay, we need to build that. So I'm gonna build that, right? Who has the funding? Cool, let's run with that. Many of these workers will find employment with other tech firms, but others will take the opportunity to launch their own startups. A survey of 1,000 laid off tech workers conducted by Clarify Capital LLC found that 63% of the respondents started their own company after they were laid off. Okay, well, I just contract myself out, right? And the tech workers reported they made more money after starting the company. Accelerator Y Combinator reported a jump in startup applications of 20% in 2022. I'm not tied to you anymore. I learned the business. I learned how you move. I learned how you contact customers. I learned how you operate. And now I'm just going to go do my own thing. Thinks, oh, by the way, I'm just going to improve on that. Right? Right? An increase in startup creates new jobs and presents an investment opportunity for venture capitalists and individual investors or angel investors to capitalize on exciting new startups. As venture capital funding declines, startups are going to platforms like Start Engine to raise funds for their startups. Start Engine is a platform that allows retail investors to invest in the early stage and high growth startups and pre IPO, and that's really a gist up. But this is what I mean, right? So let's talk about it. You spend 5 years, 10 years with a company, 20 years with a company. You get laid off. What are your skill sets? What are your skill sets? Are your skill sets still the same skill sets you had when you first walked in the door? Did you add anything? Did you do something new? Did you get a certification? Did you consult? Do you understand what your net worth is? Do you understand what your billable hours are? Do you understand how much you charge those billable hours? Do you charge by the project? Do you know what that is? Yay or nay, right? Because when you start getting out here and you start charging people for your services, and you need to define what those services are, you need to put yourself out there. Do you know what that looks like? Hmm. How much do you think you're worth? Are you worth $10 an hour? 12. Okay, 15. You're only gonna charge people 15 an hour. You can go work at Target for that. You can go work at Home Depot for that. Okay, 30 an hour. Right? And then you got to start looking at how much time it takes. How to price yourself is gonna be important. Right? How to price yourself. All right. Let's move on. All right. Let's roll into it, D. Let's get started. This is not officially Foolish Finance Fridays yet, not petty tea time just yet. We working our way there. All right, big firms are filing for bankruptcy left and right, and it's just the beginning. So you all saw Vice filed for bankruptcy. Vice Media has filed for bankruptcy. They make a Foolish Finance Friday. Why did Vice Media file for bankruptcy? Vice Media headlined a group of seven major companies that filed for bankruptcy in the last 48-hour period. This came out May 15th. The filings have laid bare just how exposed highly indebted firms are in the wake of interest rate hikes. Data from Moody's and S&P Global suggests that the pain could be just the beginning underway and could last all year. So who gonna go buy Vice. Who's going to go buy Vice just for the data alone? Right? Let me blow this up some. Think back to a faraway time when Vice Media was a darling of journalism landscape. It sported a hefty $6 billion valuation. Why are they filing for bankruptcy? What happened? All right. It had a high profile documentary series on HBO, and the web traffic soared, largely thanks to a certain polarizing president who had just taken office the year 2017. Fast forward to present when when Vice saddled with liabilities of up to $1 billion has filed for bankruptcy. Is far from alone. Six other companies threw in the towel in a 48 span, the most active such period for bankruptcy since 2008. According to Bloomberg data, looking at the companies with at least $50 million in liabilities. So if we got that many companies out there that's filing that are media related, I see a nice little swoop in on somebody who's like a VC firm or private equity firm to come in and swoop up all of them at the same time for a discount and make one big conglomerate. That's what I see. Right? It says the reason is relatively straightforward. The Federal Reserve interest rates designed to rein in inflation have laid bare the market's weak hands. A credit crunch in here, and it's spreading quickly, crippling companies with large, cumbersome debt loads for those looking to refinance, and the ship has sailed. All right, let's keep going. Here it is. It's worth noting that the bankruptcy filing is not necessarily a death knell for a company. Bankruptcies tend to wipe out stockholders and give companies an opportunity to restructure their debt and come out of the other side with a healthier balance sheet. Still, an uptick in bankruptcy filings clearly demonstrates increasing economic stress. All right, let's see. And here's what it looks like. Double defaults by holdings. You see the big dip here. The number of defaults here in 2023 at 32 in December, by December. Um, yeah, here, and then I guess these are probably the current ones. I don't think they may be representative of now, right? Let me keep going. And it also says on a specific industry basis, the financial sector is under duress following the collapse of SVB. And we've seen this Bad Bath and Beyond. David's Bridal has filed for bankruptcy. Envision Healthcare, a medical staffing company backed by KKR. And KKR is that one company that gave, well, I don't know what they gave people like double their salary or something like that. In that was that a construction place or some type of textile place? I don't remember, but I covered a video about that, right? I covered a video about that. Once valuated 6 billion, now they file for bankruptcy. We need to figure out why they file for bankruptcy. These are the things that we're talking about. You could have all this cash flow coming in, but if you're not set up, your foundation is shaky, and you're not set up right, this could be a problem. All right, let's talk about our boy, the one that won the money. He's on it again. Billionaire splurge, Powerball winner Edwin Castro seen in LA in a rare outing shopping for unique furniture after $2 billion win. He getting furniture for his house. My guy's getting for his houses. For his, yeah, they're preparing for a sale. Somebody got to come in and swoop them, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of people come in and swoop them. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, he is out here playing his pool at the billiards spot. I'm assuming he probably got some. I'm assuming he got to have security. He just out and about, right? He was spotted meeting Hollywood interior design specialist Marina Darcella outside the Pacific Design Center in West Hollywood last week as he prepares to decorate his new abode. despite opting for the lump sum and lump sum 997 million after taxes. Following his big win in November, Castro has was not decked out in designer clothing in his shopping spree. Instead, he opted to dress casually in baggy sweatpants, open-toed flip-flops, and black short-sleeve t-shirt with yellow branding Gas Monkey Garage as a popular car show. Yeah, he getting his new home. They monitoring my guy. They monitoring that my guy. All right, so let's get into this. This one is about that couple. Now this was foolish for me. I think D agreed to. All right, let's get into this. D, let me make sure my sound is up. This was foolish. And let me make sure my sound is up. Yep, sound is up. All right, let's go.
A Houston couple says they went to open a checking account at a bank and was told no. We only serve Asians at this bank. Now let that marinate for a second and take a look at this. All of this is according to a lawsuit filed on the couple's behalf in Harris County. They're Janice and Jonathan Brown. The Browns say that experience happened at American First National Bank last year. Instead of being welcomed as new clients, the husband and wife said they were turned away from the Asian-owned bank, alleging employees told them they do not serve Black people. According to the lawsuit filed with the courts, the story took another turn after bank chairman Henry Wu learned about how the couple was treated. That turn allegedly involved an expensive dinner, an expensive trip to Las Vegas, and a $100,000 loan that was later pulled, according to the lawsuit.
So let's pause right there. They said no. Ma'am, no, sir. You black. You the black. You can't get nothing. Then the CEO found out, invited him out to an expensive dinner and a trip to Vegas. Where's the foolish part, Tam? The trip to Vegas and the expensive dinner. What's there to talk about? You already said no. They still gave them the loan anyway, and they took it back. And they took it back. They was like, sight. You thought you was good, but you're not good. So they took it back. So let's look at what else happened. Let's let them tell their side of the story. All right, let's let them tell their side.
We've reached out to Bank Chairman Wu and American First National Bank. They called us back, but would only say they wanted a meeting in person, but would not commit to a statement or interview about the lawsuit. The couple joins us now with their attorney, Jared Woodfield. Again, we have reached out to Henry Wu and American First National Bank for response in this case. They have not issued a comment. However, they said they want to only meet us in person, but they would not say if they would comment or commit to comment in the case. But we are still open to the meeting, and we will keep you updated on their response. But right now, we have...
I'm going to pause and ask this question. How many of y'all would have taken the lunch? I mean, the dinner and the flight to Vegas and meeting him in person. How many of y'all would have taken that? Or you just would have like, nah, I'll talk to my lawyer? How many of y'all would have taken that? See, this is where the foolish part come in at. Y'all get tricked on a trip and a dinner. they treated you like a trick. They was like, trick or treat. And you was like, I'm a trick. Trick or treat. I'm a trick. And that's what happened. And that's what they did. They took you out to dinner. They came say a little something. Did a little woo. They did a Jedi mind trick on you, and you was like, "Oh, see, that wasn't so bad. We got the loan anyway." And then they came back on the back end and said, "Nah, you still a trick, and you got no treat. You got tricked and no treat." All right, let's go.
On the Factor Uncensored, the couple and Jared Woodfield, their attorney. Glad to have you all here on the Factor Uncensored. So, first of all, take us to that day and then make it as short as you can, though. You wanted to open a bank account at this Asian-owned bank in Houston, and they told you what?
No. They stated they didn't do business with Black people.
And when you heard that, what went through your mind?
We were shocked. My husband asked, are you guys FDIC accredited? And they said, yes. And that was it. And they walked us out with the security guard.
Secure.
Now, I'm going to add this. The Asian folks I know only bank at Asian banks. The Asian folks I know only bank at Asian banks. The Asian folks I know say no matter the price of what the person is charging, they could be charging 3 times an amount. They still rocking with that Asian. We look for the best deal. They don't. Again, trick or treat. Let's go.
Correct. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, after they had, said that, they don't do business with Blacks, I looked around at the walls and seen that, it was FDIC approved. And I said, like my wife stated, I said, are you guys FDIC approved? And they was like, yes, but, we don't do business with Blacks. We need to go find you another bank. So at that time, the supervisor, I can't really think of her name right now, but, she got us up and walked us out, and they got a security guard by the door. So he, told us, we have to get out pretty much.
Wow. But the next day, you guys got a call, right?
Correct.
And who was this call from?
Annie, the head supervisor in Katie's branch.
Okay. And what happened after that?
She said that she wanted to have a meeting with ourselves and chairman to discuss what happened.
And the chairman being the chairman of that bank,
Henry Wu.
Correct.
And so what happened once you guys met Henry Wu?
My husband was not able to come that particular day, so I just went. Myself, Lillian, Annie, and Mr. Wu met. The moment I walked in, he said, I fired her. That's it. Never gave me an apology, never stated that.
What we meeting for? What we meeting for? For what? To discuss what? What we talking about? That lady, what you fired that lady for? You knew you don't want them people in that bank. What you fire her for?
Don't represent, that they don't do business with Black people or anything like that. It's just that I fired her. Mm-hmm. He stated he really wanted to meet my husband, and he would like to take us to lunch.
Okay.
Boom. I don't deal with you women. I want to meet your husband. That's what he told her. I don't deal with the women. I prefer to deal with the man. I want to deal with the man. Man to man. Now the question is, why would he want to meet him? You already made a decision. Why you want to meet him?
You went to lunch. Tell us what that lunch was like.
A bribing session.
But what was it? What had occurred there that made you say that or think that?
He talked about a loan. We never went to speak about a loan at the first original visit. We stated that we wanted to open up a checking account and a business account. When we got to the lunch, there was chairman and then president. President was Bruce, and chairman was Henry Wu, along with the loan officer and also the head supervisor of Katie's branch. And that's when they stated that they were going to open up our business and also checking account along with a loan.
And that wasn't all.
A loan? How Soldier Boy do it? A loan? For what? Why am I going into debt? I just want to open up a checking account and a savings account. What am I going into debt for? And why are you loaning me some money? You told me my money ain't no good to just sit in your bank, that you're going to loan out anyway. So you basically, I'm going to put my money in your bank and you're going to loan me money back. You're going to loan me some money back on my money at a higher interest rate. Okay.
No.
What else came after that, Mr. Brown?
Well, what else came after that was pretty much, I want to say damage control. I want to say that, you know, he was trying to bribe us. He was trying to, you know, flex his wealth, flex his muscle.
And how did he do that, though?
As far as like, slinging his money around and, you know, saying, hey, you guys, I want to take you guys to Las Vegas.
Take you to Las Vegas.
Yes, correct.
And so did that happen?
Yes. So we went.
Bad move. Yes, we went to Las Vegas. For what? Why? They had already played you. They had already sized you up. Give them some watermelon. Give them some fried chicken. Here they go. They're gonna be all right. Now have a little good time in Vegas. Have some drinks. Kiki it up. Stupid.
Las Vegas with them, and he said
On his dime.
And he said that, you know, anything that he wins at the gambling table, me and him gonna split half. So I was like, wow. We went down there and he lost, you know, real big gambling, you know, and we came back, you know, from the Vegas trip and everything. And
so he lost at the gambling table, so you ain't come back with nothing. Trick or treat, you got tricked.
Pretty much everything went haywire after we received the loan that, you know, they had promised us and gave us.
But they titled that loan something special.
Correct.
According to the lawsuit.
Correct. They titled the loan as a business loan, but it was it was a business loan that they said that it was on paper, but they giving it to us as a personal loan that he only do for friends and family.
Correct.
And so that was $100,000.
Yes, that was $100,000. Yes.
And you guys had that loan, and then something happened.
Right. So what had happened was that, me and my wife, my son, you know, he had, had his carry and conceal, and he was old enough to purchase a handgun. We went to the gun show and, brought him a firearm, for his birthday and stuff like that. And right after that, they took the loan back. They made our account negative, and didn't give us an explanation of why they took it back. But from what we had knowledge of, that it was a personal loan, not a business loan.
And so when you bought that weapon at the gun show legally,
yes,
correct,
according to your lawsuit, he pulled the loan back.
Correct.
Okay, Jared, let you pick up from here.
So so he bought the handgun. What was on their credit? So they had to fill out a credit app. And did that show up on their credit or something somewhere in there?
What do you think happened here?
Well, I think it's a situation where originally when they went into the bank, a policy that wasn't necessarily written was accidentally disclosed. So when this individual says, we don't do business with black people, we're an Asian bank, I think that's the underlying policy there.
Y'all in the comment section, let me know what you're thinking. I thought it was absolutely crazy. I would have never took the trick or the treat. I would never went to Vegas. I would never gotten a loan, because now the loan is tied to me, and that was when I wasn't going in there for, and I was putting my money in there. And what I do in my personal life, as far as buying a gun, it got nothing to do with you. So even more judgment, and you're gonna take the loan back. And I didn't get no money when you went to Vegas because you lost big. Did you get to see Usher? Like, did you at least get to see Usher? Like, oh, y'all gotta do better out here. Now you want to get a lawsuit. But you took all the bribes. You took all the things leading up to it. What you suing for now? And guess what? Your money still ain't in the bank. And why would you want your money there anyway? To loan out to all they people, they don't even like you. Y'all made some dumb decisions. Okay. Make some dumb. That's a foolish finance Friday. All right. Let's get into this one. All right. You want to hear about how the 31-year-old scammed JP Morgan out of $175 million. She scammed JP Morgan out of $175 million. Or, let me back up. I'll give you options because I'm nice. I'm nice with it, son. I'm nice with it, son. Or would you like to hear I'm 65 with more than 5 million saved and I can't figure out how to spend it fast enough to avoid our RMD disaster? Possibly, maybe. All right. That's the bank on. Oh, here's I got the other ones over here. Hold on, let me go to my market watch ones here. Or would you like to hear about let me keep going here. Would you like to hear about people are boycotting Mr. Beast after he buys up a neighborhood for his house and his staff? Or let's see. I'm going through my notes here. Hold on. All right, a 22-year-old making $144,000 from his 2 full-time remote jobs explains why he's willing to take the risk. That's one. Or I think that might be what I had saved up. Oh no, here's another one. I'm married. A person who has nothing, who was nothing short or evil. He has threatened to take my house in a divorce. What can I do? And I'll pull that over. Like I say, I got conversations. D, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Let me go back. Required minimum distribution. What'd you say, D? Well, I don't know what that means. Be anything. Oh, okay. All right, let's start with this one, and then we'll move into the video to close it out. All right, so let's go. I married a person who was nothing short of evil. He has threatened to take my house if we divorce. What can I do? My tenant has not paid a dime since December of 2021. He has destroyed my home. He stole my mail and has been committing credit card fraud. Thought this was a great one. Let's get into it. Dear Quentin, I'm going through a lot right now. I'm at a crucial point where I need to make the right decision because if I don't, I will be financially destroyed. My problem is twofold. First, for about 3 years ago, I married a person who was nothing short of evil. During that time, I purchased a duplex. I asked him to sign a statement saying it's my sole and separate property. This was notarized. It's an actual document that was required and part of the package of papers I signed when I purchased my home. He is not on the loan and he's not on the title. Fast forward a year later, I have filed for divorce, but I have not served him with papers yet because he's threatened to try to take my house and to get alimony. The second part, when I purchased my duplex, I rented it out. My tenant has not paid a dime since 2021, since December of 2021. He has destroyed the home, broken the windows and the door, and put more than 100 holes in the wall. He has stolen my mail, which was going to the other unit in the duplex, and he has been committing credit card fraud, opening up bank accounts in my name, changing information, my address, phone number, and email on my existing accounts and racking up charges and making payments in my name. I have filed identity theft reports with the police. I have called all the credit bureaus. I have called all the credit card companies. My credit score now is a 512. 512. Because of the fraud and because I have fell behind on my mortgage, my tenant was not paying rent. My duplex was at a point where it was in foreclosure, but I saved it through loss mitigation, and I have a payment due June the 1st. Ideally, I would want to keep the house and rent it to a tenant with Section 8 housing voucher because it's guaranteed rent. But I think I'm going to be forced to sell, which is not bad at all, as I bought the house 2 years ago at 560 and now it's worth 900,000. But I would need to purchase something else or pay more tax on the sale. But there's the rub. I won't qualify for a new mortgage due to my low credit score. I'm sorry for rambling. I've been a single mother since I was 15 years old, and I was so proud that I was able to purchase something in Southern California that wasn't easy to do, but I'm afraid the stupid decisions that I have made are going to turn everything upside down and my hard work is going to go to waste. What should she do? 512 on the credit score, tenant's not paying, husband is like, divorce me, I want alimony and I want half. Mm, 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 mm. No Vaseline is what I say. All right, let's get into it. All your hard work will not go to waste. Take action on your husband and your tenant. Take a breather for everything else. If the tenant does not pay their rent and breaks the terms of their contract, you can file papers to evict them. Most pandemic era eviction moratoriums have ended. For instance, in Los Angeles County, protections ended on March 31st of 2023. As I told this letter writer, identity theft is fraud. You've done all the right things. You filed a police report. You contacted credit card companies, and I hope frozen your credit with major bureaus. You should take the same course of action regarding your husband. You should not be held hostage by his attempts of bullying, misinformation, or coercive control. Just because he says something and even believes it does not make it true. He is not on the loan or the title of the house. A divorce lawyer can provide you with more expertise than a bitter soon to be former husband. File those divorce papers. It's not it's not a given that you would have to pay your husband alimony upon divorcing him. When determining alimony payments, a family court will consider the length of the marriage. In California, spousal support may be paid for up to half of the length of the marriage that lasts 10 years or less. Unions that lasted longer than 10 years are considered long term and with no specific duration will apply. Evict your tenant and serve your husband with divorce papers before you decide what to do with your house. If you buy another home, you won't get the same interest rate as you got in 2020 or 21. That's going to add significant amount to your monthly mortgage payment, even if you purchase cheaper property. Your low credit score will also make a mortgage more expensive. There are some programs for low income home buyers. Bank of America's Neighborhood Assistance Corporation, NACA, for instance, is designed to help Americans buy with a no down payment, closing cost fees, or strict credit requirements. Obviously, you have a down payment from the sale of your current home, but there are other options out there for people in similar situations. I would be looking at tax liens. I would be looking at tax liens if I was her. I wouldn't even be trying to go out and purchase a home. I'd be looking at foreclosures, subject tos, and tax liens. She has cash, right? Your credit score will eventually recover, and this could be God's way of telling you to wait before making a big decision. Remember that psychologists and financial advisors often recommend that people don't make big decisions, within a year of a major life event, such as death of a family member or divorce. You've been a single mother since your teenage years, and you have navigated marriage, bad tenants, and identity theft. There's not much more life throw at you to test your resolve. That's good news. You didn't make stupid decisions. You made decisions in good faith. You have already shown that you are strong. Excuse me. Stay the course under pressure. Don't sell your home in a panic or do anything out of fear or anxiety. Financial decisions are often the emotional ones. In the meantime, please seek out trusted friends and family, lawyers, and qualified advisors for your support. For her, I would tell her to go and look at tax liens, foreclosures, subject tos, find a wholesaler, find someone who got a house that needs to be remodeled or something of that nature. Take that money, put it in that, build it up. Again, look at the economic development plan and then go for there. That way she don't have to have her credit ran because she has cash. And then she could work on at that point she's just working on cash. And at that point she's just working on rebuilding her credit and doing some other stuff with rebuilding her credit. Another thing to do is she could stay where she's at. She could stay where she's at, get her husband out of the home, and then go from there. But I think she's trying to sell because she may need money for alimony. But it also depends on the dependency on her. Did she stop him from going to work? What the situation was, right? So that's something to consider. All right, so let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Cold Fusion. Many people dream about success from a young age. We see the covers of magazines featuring young entrepreneurs, those who thought different, defied the status quo, and decided to embark on a journey that led them to massive wealth and success. We all know these stories, but sometimes when someone tries to achieve success by any means necessary, it can go very wrong. Such is the story of Charlie Javice. On the surface, everything seemed flawless. Millions of dollars in funding from JP Morgan, a spot on the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and support from industry titans.
I want to say something about this Forbes 30 list. They have been doing reviews on them, and they have had more fraud people on that Forbes 30 for 30 and 40 for 40 list, or 40 under startups under 40 and startups under 30, founders under 40, founders under 30. They've had more fraud. So again, they may want to hold off on putting more content out like that, or at least do some investigation on it. But it's kind of hard because they're not in the books, as you'll discover in this video.
Like Apollo's CEO, Mark Rowan. But lurking behind this polished facade was a network of lies, deceit, and flagrant exaggerations. For a decade, Charlie carefully crafted an image that deflected nearly all controversies. But as we've seen previously on this channel, her precious house of cards eventually came crashing down.
Could be facing up to 100 years in prison, accused of defrauding JP Morgan Chase out of millions.
Charlie Javice. She was a hotshot in the startup world.
Didn't scam students, but scammed the bank.
So who was she, and how did she manage to fool and defraud one of the biggest banks in the world? This is the story of Charlie Javice.
Now, how many of y'all have ever heard of Charlie Javice? Never heard of her. Didn't know she existed. Frauded JP Chase Morgan out of $175 million. The moral of the story is she lied about how many people was using the product, basically. And they did an audit and dug into the books and found out, like, oh, yo, you said you had millions of people. You only got 300,000. And the more people you have on the platform, the more money are people are willing to pay. The less you have on the platform, that's just what your evaluation is going to be. So let's get to it.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Charlie's entrepreneurial aspirations seems to have taken root in her teenage years. She grew up in an affluent New York family, attending a well-known French-American private school in New York. The idea for her first venture came while she was still in high school. In a story strangely mirroring Elizabeth Holmes, she got her first idea after a trip overseas. For Charlie Javice, the destination was Thailand, and when she returned, she had the idea to start a microfinance product. During her visit, she recognized that people in developing nations lacked access to credit. Her solution was to have a service that offered small, low-interest and secure loans to those who are underprivileged. The result was
And this is what I never understood too. I see this a lot, microloans. I see this like you underprivileged, but you get a microloan, but at what interest rate? Yeah, they did. They made fake accounts. In fact, she paid someone to make the fake accounts, a professor, and I think she ended up paying the professor like $18,000 or $20,000 to make the fake accounts. The engineer would not make the fake accounts, so the professor ended up making the fake accounts. And then once the professor made the fake accounts, JP Chase Morgan was like, "Oh, okay, cool, you're good. You got these people in here." But then what JP Chase Morgan want to do? They want to email everybody. They want to email everybody. So they email people and they realize only 1% of the emails that sent out actually got opened. And so then that's when they started really digging into, are these real accounts? Are these people real? And then that's when they discovered it. And so they went in and dug even further, right? Because you got to think, they had 300,000 people. They had to look like they had like 1 million people or more. She got away with it for 10 years. They gave her a 10-year bone. They gave her a 10-year, they gave her 10 million. And when she sold the company, they deposited in her account. She tweeted about it and the whole nine. Her people got money as well too. The damage was already done. You get 10 million, you find your offshore account, you cipher that money on over there and keep that thing pushing. You ain't gonna trace that back to me, right? I'll put this in the creative creating wealth channel so y'all can finish it. But again, I want to bring this story to you for Foolish Finance Friday because again, and this is a big thing for me. A lot of people look at people and you look like, man, how did they get there? How did they do this? How did they get there? And you don't realize they took illegal shortcuts. These people have been taking illegal shortcuts, and you're over here like, oh, I'm in the hamster wheel. I'm doing it. Hop out of the hamster wheel. Hop in. I'm, like the dog. I'm dead. I'm alive. I'm dead. I'm alive. I'm running around. I'm dead. Right? So when you see these things, you end up comparing yourself. And you wonder like what you do wrong. Why are you not there? How did she get 175 million? 10 million guaranteed, right? She like the quarterback. I got 10 million guaranteed, right? And then you sit up there and you're like, man, I'm just trying to get to 100,000. And you end up getting in this comparison rat race with nationality if you just stay the course and you just do what you're supposed to do, right? It's slow money, but you ain't in jail. You're not ruining other people's lives. You're not looking at facing 100 years. You still can eat. Now, what kind of jail they gonna put her in? That's a different story. All right, that's a different story. Right? Lies on top of lies, right? But again, when you're out here, and I said this the other night, I said this today, and I'll say it again. Go find out how much money you made in your life. Just go to the Social Security website and find out how much money you made. Add it up. Once you figure out how much money you made, think about the length of time for you to make that money. You're gonna reflect. You're gonna look and say, "What was I doing? What didn't I do? What I could have done?" And then from there, think about, okay, if it took you 20 years to make $10 million, how can you do it in 10 years? Because you know how to make it. Now, how can you do it in less time? What were your flaws? What were the things that you missed out on? What could you have done better? Now go make that in 10 years. Right? Because you already made it. You've already done it. So here you are. You already have a blueprint. You just need to take the blueprint and clean it up. All right? So go find out how much you made. Don't tell any more lies. Don't go to the Asian bank and then take the bribe and then get tricked and then get mad because you got tricked. You got tricked and no treat. And you didn't get no money. And you probably didn't see Usher. Or George Wallace. Or Cirque du Soleil, whatever. Whoever else was out there. You didn't see none of that. Y'all was just down at the table, down at the bar. Down at the bar. All right. Well, that's been Foolish Finance Fridays. Make sure you freeze your credit. Don't let people steal your credit. That's another one. And I'll catch y'all in the morning. Watching a grown man gamble, basically, and I'm gonna split half to earn it. Whatever I win, I'm gonna split with you, but you lose it all. You just so conveniently lose. You just so conveniently lose. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Sure. All right. I'll catch y'all in the morning.